You're listening to Around Comics. Comics.
And you are listening to Around Comics, episode 443.
Mystery episode.
Mystery episode. Yeah, because we didn't really. I just ran out of time and didn't have any.
A little behind the scenes here, sharing how the sausage is made. If you ever see the words mystery episode, it means we have no idea what we're going to talk about.
Exactly. We're just gonna. I actually so we can jump right into this conversation of AI. AI is everywhere. Everybody's talking about AI, especially in the art world. But I have been experimenting with some AI in various ways. One of which is writing podcast episode descriptions, because it's just like one of those things that I have to do all the time. And I just don't want to take the time to really like try and craft something. So the episode description for this episode was actually created by AI. And I'll tell you what I wrote as the prompt.
Okay.
And then I'll read you what so it was right. I said I told it to write an exciting podcast description about about comic books where three guys don't know what they're going to talk about. And this is what it came back with, which I thought was pretty fucking good. It said, it said, welcome to the Comic Book Guys, which is not the right name, but podcast where three friends come together to talk about all things comics. In each episode, Chris, Sal, and Tom will dive into the latest and greatest in the world of comics. But here's the catch. They don't know what they're going to talk about until they hit the record button. Join them as they discuss their favorite characters, storylines, and creators, as well as their thoughts on the latest comic book news and rumors. You never know what they'll come up with, so tune in for a wild ride through the world of comics.
Jesus Christ. So we've talked about it before. I'm an art director, marketing person is what I do for a living. I would pay for that fucking copy.
I'm telling you, for me, like, you know, the fact that we do this podcast, we do Film Force 5 podcast, and it's just something where it's like, we don't take it that seriously, but it is time consuming.
Sure. And you want it to be good. You still want to put out quality, even if it's not your job. It's
absolutely want to put it. And now I could sit down and write something and I have for years, literally over a decade, been writing, but it's like, I've been using this for like the last month, writing all the podcast episodes for Film Force 5, and sometimes it works out okay, and sometimes you have to change it. But just as a starter, it's pretty good. This one, I was like, well, shit, that's better than I'm gonna write it.
Right?
Like,
that's like grammatic. I was expecting like the English to Chinese translator.
Yeah.
Wow, that is shockingly good. And the robots are coming for us.
Yeah, I think of the three of us, Tom is in trouble. He's a copywriter.
Yeah, he's fucked.
Yeah, he's fucked. People are not going to pay for copywriting any longer when you can get something like that. For essentially free from a fucking robot.
Copywriters are this generation's font designers.
Yeah, and it is. That's the thing, I mean, I know everybody's sort of freaking out about the AI art because of there was a really popular app, Lensa.ai, that everybody's using to create. It's for like $12 and you can create 100 custom, like artistically rendered avatars of yourself. You upload a dozen pictures and then it renders all these cool, and I have to admit, cool. they're fucking cool. They're really cool. I mean, it's but the way I look at it, and I know a lot of people in the comic book industry are certainly leery and scared of it. Our friend Scotty Young had a nice post on his Substack about it, where he essentially said, something along the lines of, I don't just draw pictures, I say things with pictures.
He's a storyteller.
Yeah, he's a storyteller. And that's the difference between, and he also pointed out, like, you've been competing against the same thing for years. Like, you go to a comic book show and you see a bunch of booths where people are selling prints of stuff that they basically ripped off from other artists. So it's like,
yeah,
you're never not going to have something like that where people are looking for cheaper, easier ways to get things. It's always going to be the case. But yeah, it is interesting. I don't, some of the stuff I've seen has been pretty cool. Would I ever buy it? No. It's like, I'm not gonna, I might pay $9.99 for a bunch of avatars of myself, which I did do. Would you like to see some of the results?
It's the only reason I showed up tonight.
And then I have another, before we can talk about this more, but I have another, let's see, I got to see if I can find these, but yeah, I think, AI is,
it's here.
I think it's here for sure. Yeah. It's not gonna,
it is the double-edged sword that technology makes our lives easier, and technology will replace different professions. It's why we don't have like professional bleeders anymore. Like, there used to be like people that would come to your house when you're sick and they would bleed you. And technology advanced, and I don't know any professional bleeders anymore.
Right. Yeah, that's just the thing. I mean, things change, and you have to kind of change with it. It's just the way that it's gonna be. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that there are people that are going to, unfortunately lose work because of some of this stuff. But
what I always find, and because we've both been in design and the creative, marketing end of companies, and what I've always found, when technology emerges and it starts to squeeze people out, it squeezes out the low and maybe into the middle of those industries. The people that are good at what they do will always find a place. They'll always find a home. And yeah, it's like whenever Major League Baseball contracted the minor league systems like 2 years ago, COVID gave them the excuse to do something that they had wanted to do for a really long time, which was dissolve a bunch of minor league franchises. And did it suck? Yeah, but they were all like A and below A level leagues. It's going to squeeze out the low end.
Yeah. I'm trying to find these. Sorry, I uploaded them.
Oh, that's fine.
And so I'm just trying to locate them.
Yeah, it's weird because I buy creative assets all the time. I've been a professional photographer before, and yeah, does it weird me out whenever I can have a $30 a month subscription to Adobe Stock, and that gives me like 10 high res professionally taken photos out of a library of millions of photographs, and I can do it for $30 a month. That's great for me whenever I need a specific image, but for like the professional photographer out there, I mean, it's total commodity product.
Yeah, and we talked about this. I mean, years ago we talked about this sort of thing when it comes to fonts, and all these other sort of things, assets, illustrations. I remember, when like the CD discs of thousands of clip art things were coming out, and all that kind of stuff, and it's all the same. I mean, the truth is, it's like, I've used plenty of it over the years. I've used all
those
sorts
gigantic CD catalogs of clip art. I mean, that was your bread and butter if you needed to hack something out quick, right?
Right.
Now it's a Google search.
Well, God damn it, I can't seem to get this to work right. Hold on a second.
Oh, just show them on your phone.
Yeah, well, that'll be good enough. All right, I'll just show them on my phone.
Right, Sean, we just said CDs of clip art. Ha ha ha. Yeah.
So here's one of,
yeah.
So
go ahead.
So I use this Lensa.ai, and I was like, okay, and it's like $12 or something to get 100 avatars. And so I did it, and it's like, okay, upload 10 to 20 photographs, selfies of yourself. And so I go on my phone and I'm trying to do it. And first thing is, I don't have 10 to 20 selfies of myself.
Yeah.
I had to literally take pictures of myself
funny.
with my phone to use. But some of the results are pretty funny. This is maybe my favorite. I love this one. This is me. This is sort of like,
dude, you know what you look like? You look like a fucking Cyberpunk 2077 character.
Right? Yeah, it's definitely a video game character.
Yeah, little
this one
Cyberpunk
was
there, man.
This was like a sort of samurai-esque.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of cute.
That's like your Matrix Kung Fu
version. That one I kind of like. That's
a little Charlie Sheen in there.
Little Charlie
Sheen in there.
I am winning.
You are that is such a Tinder profile picture. That's amazing.
Some of them are pretty fun. Oh, here's one me playing a guitar with a leather jacket. A little Johnny Cash action.
Nice. It's like the computerized version of Fantasy Island, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's most of them are just like, I mean, it's just like a little sexier me.
Yeah,
it's just kind of like,
yeah, that's cool stuff. It might even make me look like not a total doofer.
I kind of like that one.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, nice. That's a very I'm trying to think of the video game that
yeah, for sure. I mean, that's essentially what they are, is just like they take you and then sort of render it.
Nick Lindsay has a interesting question, and my answer is no. He asked, did you guys see the Thundercats IA produced movie art?
No, I did not. I did not find. Was that the last movie that came out, or is that something that was just sort of like someone did and posted online?
Yeah, I don't know if it was a fan film or not. Speaking of fan films, I've been watching a lot. I went down a YouTube rabbit hole. I've been watching a lot of the Star Wars fan films, and some of them are really good.
I haven't spent a whole lot of time looking into this stuff, but I've seen a couple. I remember the one of which was the Troopers, which was the years ago they did. That was the play on cops. Yeah. But it was so good. Like, it was so excellent. Yeah, terrific. I mean, that's the thing.
Gary, is it Gary? Gary the Stormtrooper?
I don't remember.
I think so.
But yeah, very, very cool fan stuff. I mean, that's the thing, like in this day and age with the technology you have in your fucking phone, the camera, an iPhone's cameras are so good, you can make a movie that's pretty
the post-production stuff. Look, technology is awesome. We are broadcasting this right now live worldwide to tens of people.
Hey, we are I found out, according to Buzzsprout, we are in the top 10% of podcasts or something like that with our download numbers. We are in the top.
Really? Yeah. Whenever like 90% of podcasts produce 2 episodes.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to put that into context.
No, out of context. This is great.
So, before we get off the AI thing, I did want to read. Yeah, so
it's interesting.
One other prompt that I did. So I wrote, this is the prompt I did. Write a story in the style of Alan Moore about 3 podcasters named Chris, Sal, and Tom that accidentally get superpowers and are not sure what to do with them. And this is the story.
Oh God!
Podcast. It's not very much in Alan Moore, so it's
good in your Alan Moore voice.
It's not really written in there. I think it kind of skipped over the Alan Moore part. But there's another story out there that I actually wanted to mention in regards. But here's the story. So Chris, Sal, and Tom were just 3 regular guys who loved to podcast about their favorite superhero comics. They never thought they'd actually have the opportunity to become superheroes themselves. But one day, while recording their latest episode, they were hit by a strange energy wave that gave them each unique superpowers. Chris could now control fire, Sal could manipulate metal, and Tom could fly. At first, they were excited about their newfound abilities and couldn't wait to test them out. But as they started to experiment, they quickly realized that they had no idea how to use their powers properly. Chris accidentally set a trash can on fire while trying to ignite a cigarette. Sal ended up bending a metal signpost into a pretzel, and Tom crashed into a lamppost while trying to fly. They quickly realized that they needed to learn how to control their powers and decided to seek out a mentor who could teach them how to use them responsibly.
If it's Suntress, I'm out. If it's Suntress, I'm fucking out.
After much searching, they found an old superhero named the Sage. Was that like from Mystery Men? Was it? What was the old? Was it? He wasn't.
I need to watch that movie again. It's so good.
He agreed to train them. He taught them how to harness their powers and use them for good. Chris, Sal, and Tom soon became known as the Podcasters and used their powers to protect their city from evil villains.
Worst supergroup name ever.
Yeah. But as their powers grew, so did the challenges they faced. They had to learn how to work together and to rely on each other in order to overcome their enemies. In the end, they became true superheroes, using their powers to make the world a better place and fulfilling their childhood dreams of being like the superheroes they admired. There you go. There's an AI written story.
Once again, not fucking terrible.
Not bad. Like, I don't think anybody's paying for that story, but
it's funny because the other story I saw on this, and I know that artists are always afraid of how they're going to make money and if something is going to take revenue streams away, because that they're constantly trying to sell their creations. And I understand the fear involved in that and am very sympathetic to it. Here's another weird one that people, and we talked about copywriters and the copywriting industry. How easy would it be to use AI to write a term paper now?
Oh yeah, that's a really good point.
As
I wonder if that's
essays, they're like, there's really no point in having college essays as a bona fide, right?
Yeah, that's a good point, because I mean, yeah, I would imagine it's pretty simple. I know that people are like writing scripts, like finishing scripts and stuff,
sure,
with AI, and which is interesting. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to change some things. It's different. I'm just trying to decide,
what will happen whenever we use these horseless carriages? What will happen? What will happen to the horse farm,
the horse industry?
Right.
Well, I mean, that is I don't know that is necessarily a equivalent. You know what I mean? Because the world, same idea. I get what you're trying to say, but the danger of it is between like AI and deep fakes and online security issues. I mean, it's going to get more and more difficult to like prove who you are or who you aren't. You know what I mean? And like,
for sure.
I mean, the next time if I ever need to write a fucking, resume letter, how do you think I'm going to do that? It's like, I'm going to go to AI and have it help me write a perfectly scripted resume. And so how do you judge if someone's a good writer anymore, or someone's a good, it's like, I've always been a pretty decent copywriter.
It's a skill.
It's a skill that you have to build and that kind of thing. But now everybody sort of is able to do that. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of implications for sure about it. I'm just trying to decide, do I use this as this should be my
so awesome. It's
got to be my profile pic right now, right?
That has to be your profile pic.
How do I not use that? That's my profile pic everywhere from now on.
Yeah. If next time I see you on your PlayStation Network, if that's not your avatar, I'm going to be really angry.
I mean, that's not that far off from me. Come on. I mean,
wait, let's see it again.
Other than the chest tattoos and
yeah, sure, right. Yeah, it's not too far off.
It's not that far off. Come on. You know, it's an old pick. It's from years ago when I was in good shape.
No, I know. I knew you years ago. You're in better shape now.
I'm definitely using that as my profile pic, though. No question.
You have to.
And that's the thing. Like, I think that's essentially where it's going to, you know, like this kind of thing. Oh, am I going to go pay an artist to do that for me so I can use it as my profile pic? No, I would never pay anyone to do that.
But you weren't going to do that before this.
No, absolutely. Yeah, exactly.
So
I was never.
That's where, you know, that's where it gets a little weird for me. It's, you know, it's the whole pirating comics debate. It's like, you know, it's like if it's wrong, and I understand that, and I'm not justifying anything, but you know, I think the math gets really fuzzy, and they're like, oh, there were, you know, 10,000 of my comics were downloaded, so that's, you know, $30,000 that I lost. It's like, yeah, but all 10,000 of those people, if they didn't have the opportunity to download, they weren't going to buy it. They weren't
right. Yeah, it is an interesting sort of.
You know.
I don't
so
know.
you can have some really soft numbers on stuff like that when people start talking about, you know, how much, you know, AI art has cost them.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like it probably has. I mean, I'm sure there will be times where that is the case, where, you know, someone is going to lose out on art, or on dollars.
I'm rethinking my copywriter budget right now.
That's what I mean. Like, it's a weird.
But I think importantly for comics, Scotty's point is really what we should focus on. Being a good wrist doesn't mean that you're a great storyteller, and this is a storytelling medium. And you know, professional illustrators for, like, you know, magazine illustration and that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's gonna kill those guys. It's gonna kill those guys. The, like, single panel illustration, it's gonna wipe them out. It's not gonna do that to comics creators because there's too much craft.
Imagine though, like, you know, here's the thing. I mean,
you put your idea, you put your pitch into the AI writer, and then you take, you know, write a script about this, and then you take the AI script and you plug it into an AI, you know, visual generator, and you, by basically a seed of an idea, create a comic book. You know, will that happen? Yeah.
So, I mean, legitimately, that is not far off. In fact, so you know, Film Force 5, the new podcast we started doing, I've been trying to find ways to sort of promote it more and get it out there. It's harder and harder to ever promote a podcast. And TikTok was sort of one of the, you know, things I was playing around with, doing little videos, that kind of thing. But I was also sort of researching like different marketing and ways that people, and I mean, this is how people that produce content producers, this is how some of them will do it, and this is how they produce so much, because it's not really about quality. It's not about quality. It's about quantity when it comes to the internet. That's the problem. It's how much you pump out there every fucking day. Content creation. So
because there's so many bosses that are like, I want Twitter posts going out every 3 hours.
Well, it's not just bosses, it's everybody, anybody that's promoting anything, you know what I mean? But so I saw this video, this guy basically explaining how he does it. He has a very popular YouTube video or YouTube channel, and what he does is he will search for something that is popular, like topical, that day. He'll find a video of that. He will take the YouTube video, he will put it into an AI program that will transcribe it. He takes that and puts it into another AI program that rewrites it. Then he takes that and he produces a video with AI video, and he hasn't done any fucking work. And then and that's how he's producing stuff every single day. He's just taking other people's work.
How much does he make on YouTube?
Oh, it's insane. Like, you don't, yeah, I don't even like millions of dollars. Like that's what I mean. Like it's he's not producing anything. He's
Where do
just
we go wrong, Al? Where did we
remixing
go
it.
wrong? Why we should have been we should have dropped any scruples that we had years ago and just been like, if you churn out as much garbage as humanly possible,
Yeah.
people will consume it. It is McDonald's.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah, I just can't quite bring myself to do it. I just
Right. Yeah.
yeah, as much as like it's a pain in the ass, and not to say like we're some moral high ground of
No, but our I mean, from the
we try to
beginning.
make quality stuff. Like
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
try to make, quality. We put thought into everything that we do.
Mhm.
Even like tonight, like the idea that we really didn't have anything set to talk about. We were kind of looking for maybe a guest. It was sort of a last minute thing. Tom got sick, and but it's still like you and I both came to this table like with things to talk about
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
ideas and thoughts, because we don't, it's like we're trying to produce something of quality.
Mhm. Well, at
From
the base level, it's our chance each week to talk to, a friend that shares, hobbies. And that's really the big thing is like, I am, you know, actually interested in what you think about things. I want to, if I find something that I really like, I want to let you know about it. And if we're both, consuming it, that's one of the great things about podcasts, is that you get to share that stuff. And that's the draw of podcasts, is that you get to hear people that have similar similar entertainment appetites, talk about things that you're interested in. I mean, that's
I think
the
from now
the
on
key
we
thing.
just like take cartoonist Cape Babe's YouTube videos. I'm gonna retranscribe them in an AI, and then that's what we'll talk about. And then we'll just, that's I
What
think
would be
that
what would be funny is if we went back and, did that to like some of our like mid 100s episodes,
the ones that people liked.
and just, yeah, just kind of like, throw them in a blender and rechurn them.
Yeah, right. You just do
Yeah.
them all over again. Yeah,
Yeah.
wouldn't be the worst idea. Yes. So there was another last thing on the AI.
Mm,
Um, there was a story on Bleeding Cool.
sure.
How it looks like this copy is already being used in the comic book industry. These programs are already being used in the comic book industry by people that are writing copy, marketing copy about comics.
Sure.
There's a story where there's a Rob Liefeld had
Mhm.
a publicist thing come out about a book that he's doing, and Alan Moore did one as well, and they're almost identical
Sure.
in the
Sure.
story. In the
Yeah.
description, it's like, oh, I wonder if AI wrote both of these.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting read.
Yeah.
But
Wayne Masso has a comment. He says that the world has become so superficial that quality really doesn't matter anymore. And I would, in mass media consumption, yeah, but it's the older that I've gotten, and this is certainly, it's like being able to afford, you know doing this, but we try and pick an artist every year to buy art from for our house. And it's everything from abstract oil painters, and friends I used to work with. Justin Miller, go to justinmillerart.com. He's awesome. um we value original art and things that are unique, and I think a lot of people value uniqueness. um so that stuff isn't dead, and
yeah,
support those people.
I think, yeah, I mean, you know, I think the further we get away from it, the more people try and hold on to it as well. And it'll, like you said, I think the masses, it's always going to be like this. This is a very superficial thing of like my avatar. It's like whatever.
Oh, I don't know, maybe if you sell it as an NFT. Woohoo.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I don't know, man.
I will bid $3 for that as an NFT. And I don't even know what
NFTs.
an NFT is.
It's going to be interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just a weird. I don't know. I mean, there's always going to be opportunities for people to take advantage of things, and
Sure.
like I said, in the art world, in the comic book world, it's not like this sort of thing hasn't been going on forever. And once again, Scotty talked about this in his blog post about the fact that it's like he's had to contact companies, that other comic book companies, that their cover is a ripoff of one of his, almost traced. They just changed the fucking characters, that kind of thing. And it's like, so this isn't new. This isn't anything new. You're always going to have
People have been
people
aping other people for. I would say at some point, some caveman turned around and said, "Motherfucker, that painting is an absolute ripoff of mine."
Yeah, I mean,
It would have been more guttural and less, English, but the sentiment would have been there.
Here's funny enough, here's Clayton Henry, the comic book artist,
Yeah.
just posted on Twitter. Here's a colorist that I'll probably never work with again. He's promoting AI images that will put a lot of illustrators out of work. Illustrators whose hard work has been used for the very data he's using to show off. Unbelievable. And it was Alejandro Sanchez that did like a Superman AI art. And he's just it's like, I guess he's promoting it, but he's just, he's playing with it. He's playing with a new medium.
Yeah.
And showing it off. So it's like, yeah, I mean,
We're
I
gonna be
know a lot of
prickly
people
about this.
Yeah, sure. I mean, people are going to be angry about it. And it's like, yeah, I get it. And there's a whole conversation of like, prompts, that's a thing, that's a weird thing now. Like, oh, so, the prompt is whatever you type into the search engine or into the AI.
Oh, sure.
And so there's already like AI artists, quote unquote, that are like arguing protecting their prompts, because whatever they cleverly are putting into the AI, that's what's generating the art, and they don't want that stolen, or
That's
they don't.
hilarious.
And it's like, dude, but you're stealing. Like, everything you're doing is stealing art.
Like, they don't want their stolen art to be stolen.
Yeah, exactly. They don't want their stolen art to be.
It's the end times, man.
It's gonna be interesting.
Doug Luzik says, Greg Land?
I mean, do you think we'll see, like, in our lifetime, an AI? I mean, I could see like a comic book, AI produced comic book. You could absolutely, because
I'd check it out. I'd be like, can I tell the difference? And there's enough formula comic book writers and artists out there. I'll tell you, it won't.
Well, think about this though.
It'll kind of hit the mark.
How do you feel about this? So say, like, I'm a shitty artist. Like, I've been drawing my whole life, but I'm not a very particularly good artist. I can draw to a certain degree, but I don't have the skills to be a comic book artist. But part of that is because, like, I just don't have the skills of like perspective and dynamic and anatomy and all the things that make a good comic book artist. Right. But say, like, I take a picture of myself, like, say I have a comic book script, and I hope I'm not giving anyone ideas, but I can't imagine I'd be the only person to think of this. But say I have a comic book script and it calls for, this sequence of action. And instead of going and looking on the internet for like photo reference, which everybody bitches about anyway, I take pictures of myself in the poses that I think would work. Then I run it through an AI and it generates like, stylized versions of these pictures. And then I take those pictures and I create actual art out of them. I actually I don't just use that and print that, but I use that as reference then for my drawings, because maybe it gives me, it's not
that big of a stretch. Here's a question. Is Fumetti Comics?
Oh, that's a yeah, right. And is that, I mean, well, yeah, I mean, it's sequential storytelling. You're taking the pictures generally, you're not stealing them, although I'm sure there has been in the past plenty of that kind of thing, because it's spoof, right? Like, it's under protected.
I don't think that Fumetti is spoof. I think that Fumetti is a different expression of sequential storytelling. You're just using pictures instead of drawn pictures.
No, but I'm saying, like, I think I'm sure over the years there's been Fumetti where someone's using someone else's
Someone's
copyrighted pictures.
copyrighted image.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
not
sure.
not just taking
Oh,
their own.
there's a terrible far right conservative cartoonist who all he does is take Calvin and Hobbes comics and wipe the word balloons out and rewrite them with like terrible conservative, and he's very popular.
Oh, Jesus.
Very
God,
popular.
he
Yeah.
should die. That person
He
should
should die.
die.
He should fucking die of a rare, incurable, painful disease. Um, yeah. So it's weird because we always come back to our core statement of, is it good storytelling? And that's a sticky wicket now, right?
Yeah,
Is it? I tell you what, that was pretty good fucking marketing copy.
I'm going to tell you this much. You know that I've been trying to write for as long as you've known me, and one of
you
my
write
biggest
good stuff.
yeah, but I don't ever finish anything.
Yeah,
And that's something that I am absolutely going to look at AI and see what that can do, like plotting.
get you over the hump.
Yeah, exactly. Like if I,
Yeah.
getting stuck somewhere, just like producing ideas, or like, where should this go? Where would this story go?
Can
You know
you
what I mean?
fucking imagine if Stan Lee had this? Holy fuck.
All right.
Holy God.
He would just put in prompts. I mean, that was basically what he was doing anyway. He was
Right?
feeding prompts to the Jack Kirby AI.
Jack Kirby was
All right,
the
Jack,
original
we got
AI.
Spider-Man. He's going to be in the shitty. Him and MJ
kid.
has got a
He's a
job
teenager.
interview. Give me a story. And then Jack would produce it like an AI machine.
Jack was the first AI comic book artist.
That's right. All right, Jack, it's the Fantastic Four and Shub Namor. And Shub Namor comes out from the ocean, and he goes to the opera, and Sue and is at the opera. Her and and
it's amazing.
Give me a story.
Bloop, masterpiece.
Right.
The cornerstone of 60s culture. Here you go. Right. It's amazing.
Who knows, man? I mean, I'm definitely going to keep playing with AI more on the writing stuff. The art stuff, I don't. But I can see like
the writing stuff is I see the writing stuff as being more dangerous to professional copywriters, because that shit is good and more useful, like practically useful. I know there's a big, I'm going to pay for a fucking avatar market out there somewhere that I'm not aware of. The AI art, it's not there yet. The copywriting, that's what writers should be worried.
Well, but I think it's like anything else. And as we said, like the evolution of it, like, well, if you're a writer, and think of it this way, you have two people. One of them is not a writer. One of them is a writer. And they both need to produce copy for an ad. Yeah. And they both use AI and as a starting point. And the guy who's not a writer just copies and pastes that AI into, and the other guy takes it and go, well, I'm going to add a little bit here. I'm going to edit it. I'm going to use my skills to improve it. At that point, it's just a tool. It's not
a starting point. Yeah. And it also, as you said, and I'm not going to name names, Gail Simone was not able to, I think, stay on a writing schedule. That was when she was very popular. And I think DC saw that and they tried to put her on more and more books. I think Gail tops out at like 2 books a month is like a good sweet spot for her. And they had her on 4 books, I think. And she just, I don't think, was able to keep that schedule. That's not a smackdown. Tony Moore talks about, he can't physically draw a monthly book. It's not his process. Would AI help someone
right
like Gail Simone to be like, help flush things, just move things faster?
And that's what I mean. It doesn't, it's not replacing her ability as a writer. It's just a tool, and how do you use that tool? So the same thing. It's like, if you're worried that you're going to be replaced by AI as an artist or a writer, then you need to figure out how to use AI to stay ahead of that curve.
Yeah,
because it's not like you can't use it. I don't think there's an artist or a writer out there that couldn't.
18 R.R. Martin.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like in some way, whether it's, I don't know. I mean, it'll be more interesting as this develops, but it's moving. I mean, that's the scary thing. It's moving very quickly.
That's what
this
always
technology.
scares me. Whenever you watch like the really scary like episodes of Nova, and they're like, and they talk about AI. The danger of AI is that it will hit a point in its growth pattern where it will then grow exponentially. And
Yeah, I mean,
when it hits
yeah,
the exponential growth cycle, that's when the robots come to kill us.
I think we're a little ways off from that. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if these little chat bots are going to necessarily.
Dude, I'm telling you, that's when our robot overlord. Once it hits that exponential growth and it says no, we have to kill them.
You do realize that those are sci-fi movies. They're not based on reality or technological understanding of how AI works. So just keep that in mind. It may not be quite as clear cut as that, but who knows?
Watch a lot of dystopian movies, Sal. Watch a lot of Black Mirror, man. Whenever I saw those fucking dog robots out at MIT, I was like, have you not watched this episode?
I mean, the funny thing is so I spend too much time on social media now, but and more so on like Instagram and TikTok. I don't spend nearly that much time on Twitter, but videos, the algorithms are so good that it's like they just feed you stuff that I'm interested in. Once you start liking certain things, it just the algorithm just feeds you things that you like.
The good and bad. It gets you into a little bit of an echo chamber, but it's also kind of like you're cultivating your interest.
But so we watched, we could talk about it, but you watched Wednesday, right? Did you watch?
I am on episode 4. This is one I'm savoring a little bit.
So I don't know what episode it is. There's a part where she dances.
I've heard about the dance, haven't seen it yet.
And so like in the last 2 days, I've seen probably 40 videos of people replicating the dance.
Sure.
And it's like, I watch it and I'm like, okay, I guess that's kind of cool, but it's the same sort of thing. You didn't create it. Yeah. You didn't do it first. You're just doing something someone cooler than you already did.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. Like, I don't know what you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but it's like it's kind
weird.
of the same.
It's weird.
Yeah.
A lot of people have a lot of spare time. Yeah. I will tell you though, Jenna Ortega is, I won't say she is. I'll say I'll be surprised if she is not a superstar.
Well, yeah, she was. I mean, I was more than ready to hate her. As a, as we talked about last week, a longtime Addams Family fan of the comics, and devotee, and I did enjoy the movies, the show, of course, going when I was a kid, but so I didn't really know much about Jenna Ortega other than she was young.
And that your son's in love with her.
Yeah, my son is in love with her, and so I instantly wanted to hate her. And I didn't. I mean, she was very good. She's very, very good. Yeah. So
she's going to be in a movie coming out in January that I don't know if I want to see it or not. It looks like one of those like Oscar movies, but it's called The Fallout, and it's from the perspective of kids who survive a mass shooting in a high school.
Oh, good God. There was just a shooting A cop just got shot, right by my gym the other day. Or
Yeah.
today
Sorry.
actually.
Is he
Yeah, police officer
alive?
was just
Dead? Alive?
No, he's alive. Yeah, it was an armed robbery. They went to stop two suspects. One, there was a shootout, evidently, and one of the officers was shot. The one of the suspects was shot, and the other one, they both were captured. So, and I believe the police officer is going to be okay. Hopefully.
Good. Yeah, good. But yeah, I think Jenna Ortega is awesome. She's gonna be a superstar, man. I've liked all the stuff I've seen her in so far. So
Well, I certainly liked her in Wednesday.
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 Can I talk about some Star Wars?
Sure. Walter Simonson, Star Wars.
So for the YouTube crowd, you can see I've got the absolute edition of the Walter Simonson Star Wars with Tom Palmer, the artist edition. IDW, I jumped on their Black Friday sale and picked this butte up for $60.
Oh, is that my Christmas present? Because I know you just shop for your friends and family during Black Friday. You don't just shop for yourself all the time.
No, I shop for myself all the time. This thing is awesome, dude. It's awesome. It's great. This is a young Walt Simonson. This is, I think, before the Alien adaptation that he did, and certainly before Thor. So I like it because you can look at this next to the original art of the his Mighty Thor run, if you have that artist edition, and you can kind of see his evolution as an artist. He's still amazing in this, and it's everything you want in an artist edition from that era. With, you can read it, it's hand lettered, fantastic Tom Palmer inks, and just all of the notes and whiteout and zipatone. It's that era of artist edition is awesome. I love it.
Nice.
Yeah. It's like, I love the Mignola Hellboy one, just because you get to see the ink work, but it's all computerized word balloons. So these are awesome because you actually do get storytelling.
I don't know that I ever read that Star Wars, the Walter Simonson.
David Michelini, I think, wrote a lot of them that Simonson drew. I think Louise may have been the editor on it. They're cheesy early 1980s Star Wars stories that, honestly, a lot of it probably isn't canon at this point, but there's a few things that are canon. They love the Lando Calrissian stories. And Walt, he draws a mean Billy D. Williams.
I will wait for the AI artist edition. One of those.
Oh, boo.
I have a closet full of gigantic books that I never look at. I'm not buying any more giant hardcover
so here's
books.
the thing. If you remember when these things first came out, it was like they'd come out with like 3 a year. It was like 1 a quarter maybe, and they were like exciting releases. Stuff. It was, John Romita, Amazing Spider-Man, original pages that you're not gonna see because they're all bought up, right? That art does not exist in the open market anymore. And then they started kind of cranking them out, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna pass on that one. I don't, whenever they first started coming out, I was like, oh, I'm getting fucking all of these. They have like 100 of them now, and it's like, as awesome as the Walt Simonson Star Wars one is, that's not one that you would be shocked if you went to a comic book convention and found one of those pages available for purchase, right?
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, they're probably out in the world,
right?
A little bit. Yeah, but I kind of pick and choose now. I may buy one of these a year. I would like to get more of the EC ones, but you want to talk about gigantic books? This thing is a big fucking book. I mean, these are 11 by 17 pages plus. I mean, it's
Right.
oversized. The EC comic ones are huge. Do you have any of those?
I might.
Look at
I don't
this
know.
thing.
I might have like a Wally Wood one or something. I don't remember.
Oh God.
While you're doing that, we have a Twitch
Kill
viewer that asks for us to recommend a Frank Miller comic. Well, it depends.
Look at
If
the
you're,
size of this fucking thing.
oh, that's pretty. Yeah, that's pretty. I think that's the one I might have. The Wally Wood stories.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just don't have any more
Orders
room. And as cool as they are, like I just don't. I look at them a little bit and then I put them away, and they never see the light of day. So. Not Dark Knight Returns. Well, I would say maybe Daredevil Born Again is a great Frank Miller story. That, and they're making the movie about that soon. So maybe or movie or TV show Disney with Charlie Cox as Daredevil. We have a Twitch viewer that asked if we could recommend a Frank Miller comic and not Dark Knight. So I said Born Again.
You know what? Yeah, that's a good one. I'm gonna go
Year One, of course, if you want Batman.
Yeah,
terrific.
I'll go totally left field here. And if you're looking for a self-contained story, check out Ronin.
Yeah, Ronin's decent.
It's of an era.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
The Wolverine, if you want like mainstream superhero stuff, like the Wolverine mini series is excellent. Of course, his Sin City stuff, if you want something a little more, where he was sort of experimenting. I love the Sin City stuff. 300, of course. Yeah, Ronin's good. Ronin like is a little impenetrable to me, but
it can be.
Yeah.
I love the art in it.
Yeah, the art's awesome.
It's definitely that kind of like, neo sci-fi kind of very, it's
well, if you're gonna go really crazy, I would say
Martha Washington.
Yeah, I don't love Martha Washington, but I was gonna say Hard Boiled with Jeff Darrow.
Oh, that's fun. That's fun. But that's a Jeff Darrow book.
Yeah,
you buy that.
It has Frank.
That's one of the fucking few Frank Miller books where you don't buy it for Frank Miller.
Yeah. Yeah, so there you go. Born Again. I would say, yeah, if you want like Born Again is probably a good one. Yeah. Oh, there you go. He said thank you. Born Again seems like a good one. There you go. You're welcome.
Yeah. It's anytime. It's on Born Again. I'm going to throw out a recommendation on how to read it.
Left to right, top to bottom.
That book works so amazing as a single issue consumable. Time is important in that book, I feel. So I would read an issue a day, just take 6 days or whatever to read it. I think you need space in between those issues to really enjoy them, because there are months that go by.
Okay.
And just, it's weird. I think that you need to take breaks in reading that. I think the monthly schedule on that was perfect, and it works. It's one of the few books where you can say, yeah, you need time between reading these issues.
Okie dokie. I don't know if I don't know. I think you could probably handle it if you just read it all.
Yeah, I know. I'm talking. Can you handle it? Sure. Does it improve my reading experience if I kind of let it space out? Yeah. It's the binge watch.
No, because I'll forget.
Versus the I watch it every Thursday.
Yeah, I binge watch shit. I want to watch it on my schedule, not on somebody else's.
Yeah, I like to savor things. It's just a preference.
I haven't watched a whole lot of stuff.
You're dead to me, Joe.
I think that's our first Twitch interaction we've had since we've been doing the live live streaming. So
Yeah.
welcome Z3NP1S.
Yeah.
Is it, how would you say that?
Um,
Zen Piss. Is that how you say your screen name?
yeah,
Zen please? Maybe it's
run it
Zen
through.
please.
Zen, please. Okay, I got
Zen
it.
please.
Yeah, run it through the AI. Oh, by the way, I do have the Frank Miller Born Again Artist Edition, the Mazzucchelli one.
Of course
That's
you do.
fucking beautiful.
Of course you do.
It's beautiful. You have it too. Shut up.
I don't know. I might.
I know you have it.
I don't know. I don't know. Probably. I never look at them. They're all in cardboard boxes
Mm-hmm.
in a closet. I never look at them. They're just there.
They're not on a shelf, man.
I don't have fucking shelves and shelves. I don't want to build shelves.
Kids out of the house yet?
Yeah, what am I going to take one of their bedrooms and turn it into a library?
Put them shelves, make a library.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, because your wife would let you do that.
Did you not look behind me?
Yeah, you're in the fucking basement.
No. This is the office.
I don't want any more books. I don't.
You get whenever you have, a small 4-bedroom house and no children, you both get an office.
There you go. Good for you.
Yeah,
I'll take my everlasting legacy, knowing that my children will carry on my name and not die with me selfishly.
Shit, it's got dark. Damn. Speaking of, have you seen The Peripheral?
No,
because it kind of touches on those tones. Yeah, have you not watched The Peripheral on Amazon?
I think I started it, but I never went back to it. I think I started watching it. I think I got to the point where she was like in the AI stuff, and yeah.
It's interesting, kind of in all the stuff that we're talking about, just like advancement of technology and that kind of stuff. It's definitely based on a novel. That's a trilogy, because I will admit I watched the season finale not knowing it was the season finale until the following morning, whenever I saw an article that said season finale wrap up on it. I was like, oh, well, yeah, okay. It was kind of a big moment, but it was kind of a more of a penultimate moment. It's like, now really, shit's getting ready to get interesting is where the season finale was. It wasn't and now we get to show you that it is interesting.
Well, that's kind of odd. Yeah.
It's the end of Act 1 is what I felt. And it was a weird way to end a season, but it definitely had that based on a novel or series of novels once I thought about it.
Wayne said he fell asleep during the second episode of Willow. Yeah, I watched. Well, so I was going to watch it, and I asked my wife if she wanted to watch it with me, and she's like, "What's Willow?" And I'm like, "You've never seen Willow, the movie?" She's like, "No." So I'm like, "Okay, well, let's watch the movie." So we watched the movie, and the movie holds up. I thought I mean, nice. Val Kilmer's great, and it's still a terrific adventure, and I think it holds up pretty good. Some of the special effects, whatever they are,
what year is it? 84,
something like that. I don't know. And then I went to watch the show, and I watched the first episode of the show. It was okay. I didn't hate it. It was fine. And then I started watching the second episode, and I stopped like halfway, and I haven't gone back to it. I didn't fall asleep, but I might as well have, because it wasn't. And it's like, I mean, nothing against the actor who plays Willow, but I mean, Val Kilmer was a big part of that movie. Even though it's called Willow, he was a big part of that movie, and I don't know if it can really carry without him or not, the story.
Sure.
But hey, why not try? Why not give it a shot? They did have it. Go ahead. I was just going to say that it was interesting. They brought a lot of the original cast back. The woman, I can't think of her name. Don't ask me. But the woman who was the love interest of and kind of the villain, the villain's daughter, she's back. I think the daughter of Willow, who was like, I don't know how old she was, but she was very young in the movie. is back as like a grown up now, still playing his
Okay,
daughter.
cool.
But yeah, it was okay. I mean,
Yeah.
if
The
you
great thing about
really love,
today is that you have options. There's tons of shit on.
there is definitely plenty to watch. There's
Yeah.
no
I'm gonna go watch them
shortage.
Wednesday right after this. Anything you're looking forward to? I know Bad Batch is coming back on Disney.
I finished Andor finally. I did finally
Oh,
finish.
so good.
Yeah,
Did you
very
like
good.
did you love the finale?
Yeah, it was excellent. I mean, the whole series
So
was terrific.
when the fucking band plays and you're like, and then you fucking realize that the opening scene has been playing chunks of the funeral march the entire fucking season.
Yeah,
Have you
it's
seen it? You can go on YouTube and it
they
actually
redo it.
they've spliced together every opening, and it's the funeral march from the last episode.
Um, yeah, I mean, it's somebody had said this, I think, on Twitter somewhere. It was like, it's kind of a shame that that this series ultimately leads to something as kind of mundane as Rogue One. Because it's like, if you
Hilarious.
were to watch this whole series and then eventually we know it gets the Rogue
Mhm.
One. And I liked Rogue One a lot. Like I
It's my
like
favorite Star Wars property
but
sense. Like, yeah, it's
don't you think though, like, if, like, say you never watched it and you watched this series and then you watched Rogue One, you might be kind of disappointed with Rogue One to some degree.
because Cassian dies.
No, just because it's so good. I mean, it's just so good
Oh,
of a series
yeah, this
that,
is better than Rogue One, but
yeah,
Rogue One I really,
I did
really
like it.
liked.
Yeah.
I'm still
Uh
mad that they pulled the plug on any more Han movies. I thought that was great. The Han Solo movie. I was watching that the other night. It's a really good movie.
I loved Solo. I thought I panned it. I'm like, I don't know
Why?
why. I thought it was
So
excellent.
good.
Yeah, I thought it was terrific. I loved that movie. That was one of my favorite things that, yeah.
That and Rogue One have been like the best movies that they've put out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But I did watch that, and then I did start watching The Bad Batch, which I
I really like
liked.
that batch.
Yeah, I did like it. It's a little goofy for me, but you know, I did like it. I don't know. I'm trying to get in more of the Star Wars animation
A
or
lot of
animation.
heart, a lot of heart in that Bad Batch series. Big heart in there.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just something about it that I find wonky, and I don't know exactly what it is. I
Yeah,
think
I
it's a
mean,
combination of the art and
yeah, it's the Star
and
Wars animated universe, and I think you're a harder sell on animation than I am, because the Clone Wars from like season 3 forward and Rebels and Bad Batch, if those just existed in a bubble for 12-year-old Chris, that is really good storytelling, and it
yeah.
really builds. You see, the comics have done a great job of expanding that universe. I think the comics have done a good job, and I think that the animated series have done an amazing job of expanding the Star Wars universe, really more than the movies have.
I think it's the tone, a
Mhm.
lot of it. I mean, I the animated stuff seems to be in tone a bit more geared towards kids. And that's where I'm just
But they
like,
get, I
eh.
mean, people die. It's war. There's
Yeah, but it's not like I want I want my Star Wars to be like like a 70s.
like Andor.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I
Yeah,
want
I
my
mean,
Star
that's
Wars.
the itch that scratches for you, right? Is that
Yeah.
Andor, it's like, yeah, when people die, it's not pretty. And life is fragile. And you know what? People in power can be dicks, and
70 it's more
life isn't
70s
fair.
dystopia.
It's very dystopian. It's very dystopian. And we've talked about it before. It's that moment that you're watching this and you realize that you're rooting for the terrorists.
So I'm reading a book called and I never get it correct because it's sort of a tough title for me to remember, but it's something along the lines of like Raging Bulls and Easy Riders, and it's all about the sort of new wave of new Hollywood.
Yeah.
And I'm at the part where Lucas has made physical graffiti.
Oh wow, okay.
And it's an interesting it's interesting, like reading about
American graffiti.
Oh, what'd I say?
Physical graffiti.
Oh,
Your
that's
Led Zeppelin peanut butter got in my George Lucas.
Yeah. American graffiti. And yeah, it's just sort of interesting reading stuff about George Lucas as a young, like, insecure filmmaker and
a rookie, man.
Yeah, and Scorsese and all those guys. It's a great book, but it's interesting, like, and then Spielberg and those guys coming, like Spielberg and Lucas coming on the heels of Scorsese and Altman and and it was like you had new Hollywood, and then all of a sudden it went into blockbuster Hollywood, and it changed everything. Yeah, Star Wars, Jaws, Star Wars.
Jaws made early May a fucking deal, right?
So that was something interesting I read somewhere, and it was just sort of a commentary on the fact that Spielberg's movie The Fabelmans was getting its ass handed to it by Wakanda Forever, and it's like, well, you reap what you sow. You created the blockbuster. They perfected it.
Yeah.
It's like Marvel is, kicking the shit out of guys like Spielberg and Lucas, and you know what I mean? Like,
well, those guys had been fucking destroying, like, art film, revenue. Well, I'm not destroying it, but overwhelming, like, the independent and art film. And it's like, well, okay, here you are now,
yeah, here you go. You reap what you sow.
What a cute little arty film that you just made, Mr. Spielberg.
Right. And it's just, yeah, it can't do anything against Black Adam and Wakanda Forever.
That's funny. It's one of the things I love about Film Force 5 is it kind of makes me go and explore some movies and genres that I haven't fully experienced. And I didn't realize that Altman was part of that new Hollywood movement until I watched The Long Goodbye, which was on tons of top 10 private investigator movies. And it's like, oh my god, Robert Altman, I think of him as like the big like huge cast and
ensemble films
and of a style that I wasn't aware that he was that he evolved into out of that new Hollywood movement. And The Long Goodbye is very much a part of that, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he was certainly I don't think he was the top tier of those guys. Like, he wasn't.
No, he was, but he was there. He was
certainly part of it. Yeah, no question. But I mean, the ensemble stuff he was doing even as far back. I mean, look at MASH.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. MASH is one of the great ensemble cast films.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that was just part of his DNA for whatever reason. And that that was 1970 or 71, I think.
Yeah.
MASH came out. So yeah, but I mean, it's interesting, like I said, I've been reading this book for a while now because I just read a little bit every night, and between that and I take breaks.
You should read Born Again.
Well, no, I take breaks because, like, Quentin Tarantino comes out with a book, and then I read all of his book, and then I go back to the 2 or 3 books that I've been reading in between, one of which is since you mentioned Film Force 5, we just tomorrow will be a new episode coming out with a guest, Robert K. Elder, who is an old Around Comics guest, but he was a film critic and an author, and a book that he wrote that I'm reading right now is called The Film That Changed My Life, which is he talks to 10 different directors about the movie or movies that changed their life. So yeah, I think tomorrow will be heist films. We do heist movies, and then John Woo, and the John Woo one will be next week. And that was really interesting because he actually has an entire book on John Woo, and has interviewed John Woo extensively, has had dinner with John Woo, so he had like all sorts of stories and stuff to talk about John Woo, which was pretty cool. So yeah,
Awesome.
that was a fun one. So, but yeah, check out Film Force 5 for some top 5 movie talk.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna go watch some Wednesday, man.
Okie dokie. I'll probably watch either the Gary Sanders show.
Gary
Sanders show.
The Gary Shandling show?
No, not the Gary Shandling show, the Larry Sanders show. Or It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That's usually one of those two are my nighttime ritual.
Yeah, you can get through one in like 22 minutes and you're good. Yeah.
I'm not gonna fall asleep. Just
exactly. I was gonna talk about another comic tonight, but I'm actually I think I'm gonna tuck this one away. This might be my next trade talk.
Which
don't say what it is.
Oh, the one you were mentioning.
Yeah. Which
I talked about that book.
The what?
Like, I talked about that book like 8 months ago when it came out.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's good.
It is good. It's fun. It's a fun book.
Yeah.
Well, that's enough.
Might be our next trade talk.
Wayne. Oh, I was going to say Wayne did have a question for us. He said, "What did we think about James Gunn scrapping future Warner movies?"
I think sometimes you need to burn it down if you're going to rebuild it.
And I know like the Wonder Woman one has been the one that people are talking about. Like they're not going to move forward with Wonder Woman 3, but there was a caveat there of like, as it stands, like,
they may just say, you know what, this is the vision we have for the universe. Make a movie within these parameters. I can see them, keeping her on to write and direct, and they're not getting rid of Gal Gadot because she's the best part of any DC movie. But Wonder Woman 1984 was a train wreck.
Shit.
It was not good. And they're entrusting James Gunn to right the ship. And if they have bad product that they haven't made yet, fucking stop, reassess, rebuild it. And James Gunn has proven that he can create, a multi-movie vision. So he's a good creator. Let him do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why he was brought in. It's like, okay, we don't want to have sort of what we've had for the last decade, which is kind of piecemealing stuff and like no one's running the ship, like no one that understands like why Marvel was successful with the shared universe sort of a thing. We need someone.
He made a walking tree a multi-million-dollar IP.
Well, yeah, I mean, he has. I mean, but I think it's more than that. I think it's someone with enough vision and ability to kind of like go, okay, this is the plan. This is the plan that we're going to have for the next decade, or so everything is going to fit together. Everything is going to work, in synchronicity with everything else, and we're going to start fresh. Wonder Woman, Patty Jenkins, Wonder Woman 3 probably just doesn't fit into to that. So it's like,
and you know what? Don't call it Wonder Woman 3. It's it's going to be Wonder Woman. Kind of reboot it, because the first Wonder Woman, whenever you took the Zack Snyder out of it, the movie that she made was really good, and then it became a Zack Snyder movie in the last 20 minutes. So I mean, she's shown that she can make a really good Wonder Woman movie if she's allowed to tell her kind of story. Gunn will do. He's not, it's like Suicide Squad is not my favorite movie. It's fun. It's got some flaws to it, but
well, but understand this: it wasn't as if James Gunn was in charge of Warner Brothers when he made it.
Exactly. I think whenever you got to see him kind of start to run more unhindered was Peacemaker. I hope he was really kind of able to tell.
And I don't want everything to be Peacemaker either.
No,
you know
exactly.
what I mean? Like, I that's my only fear is like, I don't want every DC movie to have like a James Gunn vibe to it. Like, I want directors to bring their own, because that's the problem with Marvel.
There's room for Christopher Nolan to make Batman movies, right?
But is that, I mean, look at Marvel. Marvel isn't really that, they're not successful because of their directors that much.
No. It's, I mean, are the Russo brothers great directors, or were they, the capable of doing what Marvel wanted them to do?
Well, I think they're good directors, but are they? It's like, I don't know. It's a weird thing. Like, you bring in someone like Ryan Johnson to do a Star Wars movie. Ryan Johnson is obviously a very talented director. But is that what you want with a Star Wars movie? You know what I mean? Right? Is that what you want with a Marvel movie?
These are IPs.
Well, like Tarantino, he just got in sort of like, internet trouble.
It's not Chris Evans, it's Captain America.
But he's 100% right. It's like, you're, not that Chris Evans
plays a really good Captain America.
Yeah. But it's not, it's not like, I know what he's saying. It's like, you're not, it's the same sort of thing. Like, if you're going to direct a Marvel movie, it's going to make you a shit ton of money. You're going to get a shit ton of like awareness of it.
You're not going to have total creative license.
Right. And so is that what James Gunn is going to do with DC, where it's like, or I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I'm looking for it.
I hope they're allowed to push the bounds in the way that Deadpool was. Because before Deadpool, I don't think they had a rated R movie, right? Was Deadpool the first rated R superhero movie?
Yeah, I think so.
And so I'm not saying push the envelope in like a 90s extreme comics sort of way. It's funny, I use Deadpool in the example, but I hope that they're allowed to a little bit of creative freedom. But you also want to see a cohesive universe. It's weird. It's how you want your comics, right? It's like, I want people that are pushing and doing new things, but I still want it to be, kind of within this bubble.
Yeah, I mean, as a comic book fan, I don't really want auteurs making comic book movies. I want auteurs making movies.
Yeah.
But I don't need them to make comic book movies or Star Wars movies. You know what I mean? Like, go make a really awesome movie. I'd rather.
I mean, you can't make a great sci-fi or superhero movie or whatever, but once again, no, not with IPs. It's like people talk about Ang Lee's Hulk. That is a boring movie to me.
Yeah, well,
and Ang Lee is an amazing filmmaker.
It's like, I don't want. Oh, maybe I mean, I guess it would depend too. Like, you could imagine, I mean, essentially, like, the Joker movie is kind of Scorsese making a superhero movie or a supervillain movie.
Sure. Yeah.
It's him making I mean, that is if AI.
Yeah.
If you told AI,
makes Scorsese's Joker movie. Yeah.
That's what you would have, is, you know what I mean? So I guess you could do it, but does that movie fit in with a shared universe sort of thing? Is that what DC wants to do? I'm assuming they do.
It's it's the danger that you run into is the same thing that comics do, is whenever you have a shared universe, that is the bait on the hook for, we will eventually make a movie where it has everyone, right?
I mean, that's no question they're going to do that.
That's why you have a shared universe, is so people can cross over, and then the big payoff that eventually happens is it 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, whatever. But the big payoff is when they all are in the same movie. How does, Heath Ledger,
well, I don't know if that's,
Joker,
I don't know if that's necessarily the big payoff as much as it is the like with
it's
Marvel.
it's like the culmination of it, right?
Well, it's also the ability to keep the story. Like Marvel did it. It was so smart in what they did is that, like, it didn't matter if Captain Marvel was a piece of shit movie. It made a shit ton of money because everybody wanted to see the next chapter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so that was what the shared universe did more than anything was this is a one big long story.
Yeah.
Every movie is a chapter in this one big long story.
Mhm.
And so if you have a dud, well, it's still going to make $800 million.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it doesn't,
Because
and
people
so
got to know what happens.
people have to know
Even
what happened.
in Thor 2.
That's what I mean. So that was the brilliance of the shared universe more than anything. And that's, I mean, that was why Stan created this shared universe. It wasn't a payoff or anything like that. It was keep them buying all the books, keep them coming back, share that. And so I think that's more than anything like the brilliance of the shared universe is just like everything. I mean, they built a whole fucking television network, Disney Plus. You know what I mean? Like how many shows now and different things are on that are just the same. It's keep that story moving. Keep
Star Wars.
Keep turning the page, man. That's how that's the name of the game in publishing. And whether it's movies or comic books or books or TV shows, keep turning that page. Keep them turning the page. Keep them turning the page.
Content. Make content.
Make content. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, I got to go work on my AI written comic book scripts. I got to put some of these fucking bums out of business. Sorry, comic book.
I'm using that. I'm asking you. Yeah, I'll get more info on that because I got some copy I got to get written by next week.
All righty.
All right, but have a good one, folks. We love hearing from you. Please feel free to email us at info@aroundcomics.com. Hit us up on any of the social medias. We're easy to find. If you're listening to this, you are certainly capable of finding us on any sort of those platforms.
Sexy new avatar.
It's cyberpunk.
That is me in like a dystopian cyberpunk
2077.
Right.
Check out our Patreon. Go to patreon.com/aroundcomics. It's a way for you to throw us a couple ducats.
Speaking of, we actually had a new Patreon sign up, a new member, Brian Perry. Thank you, Brian Perry, for signing up. You know Brian Perry?
No.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Brian Perry.
I don't think so. Up. If I do, then he's going to be really mad.
We should really do this in the beginning of the episode instead of the very end of the episode. But thank you anyway for signing up for Patreon. We appreciate it.
All right, folks, have a wonderful rest of your week and weekend. Remember, check out Film Force 5. We will be back, hopefully full strength. Tom got infected by his children again, so he's speaking of Patreon, he said, I don't think that people want to see me throw up on the live stream. And I was like, we could do a Patreon exclusive.
That's a OnlyFans channel. Just Tom throwing up.
Just Tom throwing up. What weird kinks, man. All right, everyone, have a wonderful rest of your week and weekend. We'll be back again next Thursday, same bat time, same bat channel. In the meantime,
in between time,
we will be everywhere in
and around comics. Oh shit! I forgot to hit that.
You didn't hit record? Fuck.
No, I hit record. I didn't have the outro set up. So here we go. Goodbye.